we're going to go over the steps to import an image and set it up to be lasered on the top of your tabletop. So we get into the computer. There is a program called CorelDRAW, and you could access it here, or there's a shortcut up here. Just depends on the computer you're using. And I'm going to get into CorelDRAW. Once we're into CorelDRAW, the first thing we're going to do is set up a new document. So click on that document, and the biggest thing we need to change here is the widths and the heights. And it may default to what we need, but this is the size of your board. And so our board should be 18.5 inches wide, which is what's in here, and it should be 20 inches high or tall, and that's what's in here as well. So this is going to give us our working space. Everything else for now we can just kind of leave the same and click OK. So now this is a virtual board, or the top of our table. And so at this point, it's not too difficult. We just need to bring in an image, or we can do text. There's a lot of different things you can do. But for this example, I'm going to bring in an image. Now, if I did want text, there is a way to do text right here, and you can add in a text box and then type whatever you want and change the size so you can actually see it. Let me go and change that size there, so you can see what happens, and you can choose different fonts and everything and make it whatever you want, and you can align it different ways. And that's all kind of advanced stuff as far as alignment goes, but know that you can do text. Okay, I'm just going to delete everything here. I'm going to select right there, and I'm going to delete. Just hit delete to delete that. Okay, so I want to bring in an image. You got to have, remember, it's a JPEG works best, or bitmap, or PNG. Use one of those types of images. Then it's a grayscale, and we're going to go File, Import, and you have to have that image saved somewhere. So you need to save it. You can save it on the desktop, just delete it later, or have it on a thumb drive or somewhere. But I'm going to do File, Import, and mine is on a thumb drive I have plugged in. It's this 8 gig drive. Just figure out where you're at. There's my 8 gig, and it's called this Utah State Aggies logo right here. I'm going to import. Now it just wants to know what size, so I'm just going to drag and drop. Now we can do some resizing later on. Now remember, this is your work area, so it's got to fit with inside of this, and you got to think about how much of the board you want to actually cover. And right now this is probably a little big because I'm almost out to the very edges, and so I think I'm going to change the size, and that's right up here, right here where it says Object, and then right underneath it there's these sizes right here. You can type in an exact size, and you can lock the ratio, which I would do, so it keeps it the same. You can type in a certain size if you want, or obviously you can just grab a node here and make it smaller. There's a lot of different ways that you can manipulate this. This is actually looking pretty good, I think, for my board. It looks like I'm at 14.1 inches, so maybe let's go to straight up 14 inches and press enter, and that resizes it to 14. Now the other thing I want to do is positioning. You can slide this wherever you want. You can have it anywhere, but a lot of times you want it centered on the page. And a nice easy trick, you can type in a certain coordinate on here on the object position, or if you just want it centered, I'm going to hit P, and it centers it on the board. And that's probably the easiest thing to do, is just center it on the board. At this point, basically I'm ready to send this to the printer and start printing it, which the printer happens to be the laser. I'm going to just select off of it. You can bring in multiple images. You could do this, and then you could do maybe a football up here, or a basketball, or you could do, you can do a lot of different things. Just remember aesthetics, and you want something simple that'll look good, that'll laser good. This is a really nice logo. You got the contrast between really dark that'll etch deep, and then some gray in here, and then the white won't etch at all. Okay, so you'll see this in action. I'll do a video once we get it printed, but to print it, come up here. There's obviously a couple different ways. Control P, hit the print button right here, file, print. It doesn't really matter. Hit the print button and bring up a dialog box here. We're using the VLS 6.6. That should be the default on the computer. That's the printer we're using. And at this point, we're not going to really change anything. We'll change some stuff. We may change some settings in the print dialog itself later on. So we're just going to say go ahead and print. And at this point, we're good, ready to start lasering. So I can get rid of that. And the printer is this UCP, and you may have a shortcut down here, or the UCP, this little red button, or you can find it under the quick, a lot of times is over here. However you get there, there's UCP. I'm going to double click on it, and you can see that there's my logo. Now, we need to do some alignment and stuff, and we need to change some settings. So the first thing, let's go into some settings here. So you'll need to do this, just double check settings, and our first setting is what kind of material. So if I go out of that, we got ceramic foam, fabric foam, glass, metal, natural, plastic, rubber. Wood is a natural material, so we're going to click on natural, and there's wood. Okay, and then most of you will be using soft hardwoods that are general hardwoods. Let's see what else they got. Medium, they actually listed under a medium wood. Okay, so there's alder. I'm going to click on it, and it'll set up all the other parameters for alder. If you're using maple or walnut or cherry, those are under the hardwood right there. The other thing we need to change is the thickness. Right here, our boards are 0.75, 3/4 of an inch thick, and we're going to apply that. And it's going to say, wait a minute, I can't cut that deep with the laser. Yeah, we know that. We can't cut through 3/4 of an inch very easily. So we'll just click yes, it's not a big deal. And then we click OK. So now the settings are all set up. The next thing that we need to do is set up the board into the laser machine and set up where this is lasering at. And I'm going to walk you through that process. Okay, so here's the laser. I've got my top already. One thing that one problem we're gonna run into is our top right here is 20 inches tall. The table in here shows 18 inches, but we can still make this work just fine. What we're gonna wanna do is put it in here, and I'm gonna slide this edge so it lines up straight with this ruler over here, okay? And it should kind of fit against it. And then this back edge, we're gonna line up with the back edge of this ruler. And that's gonna center this pretty close so that we get the image where we want it. So once again, my back edge is flush with the ruler back here on the back edge of the ruler. And so I'm covering up all these numbers, as you can see. And then this left-hand edge is just kind of up against the ruler. And so we've got this the way we need it. All right, to help get things aligned, what I want to do here is I need to find the center of my board and mark it, okay? So we already know that this is 20 inches, so I need to measure down 10 inches. And if you do this before it's in the laser, it'll be a little easier. But I'm going to mark right here where my 10 inches down. And then this is 18.5 inches wide, so 18.5 is 9.5 inch in half is 1/4, so it's 9 1/4 from the edge. So I'm going to measure over 9 1/4 and make a mark there. So where those cross is the center of the board, and we're going to establish everything off of the center of the board, and it'll make it easy to align the laser where we need to align it.